which choice do you make? The hardest one or the easiest one? So, for example, when you come home after work, that's probably the best choice is we defer to what we really want to do personally, but what if we have some professional ideas we need to take care of? So I want you to think about this as kind of a really key idea. So I do an executive briefing called Why Training Doesn't Work and How to Make It Stick. And here's the reality. The average company spends $1,000 a year on employees. Some higher, some less, depends on the person, depends on the profession, depends on the title they have. But there's very little implementation of ideas that ever happen when people go for training and when they come back, and I'll support that a little bit later on. But I want to get into a key idea here. What I've determined over the last number of years about doing training, there's two reasons training doesn't work. Number one is called follow-up, or lack of follow-up, if you want to call it that, after the session, which means no implementation, which is why the previous two slides are so important about capturing those ideas and doing something with them. So number one is lack of follow-up. So be it from the person who sent you, when you come back, what you should be asked is, what did you learn and how can we help you implement it? Generally what happens is people say, how was the conference? And you go, well, it was okay, food was cold, room was hot, speaker was not exciting, whatever it might be. But it's really saying, what did you learn? How can we help you implement it now? And I have a concept called the first hour back concept, which means anytime you come back from training, set aside time to actually implement the ideas. Otherwise, it won't happen because you get so wrapped up in the backlog that happened while you're away. So, second thing, what's become very evident to me in almost all leadership training, or the reason we have conflict resolution training, is that I call it the happiness factor. That the reason people aren't productive at work is they don't like work for whatever reason, or the people they work with, or how the company's changed, or the challenges that are there, which usually involves around lack of communication. Most leadership programs address that in some point of view. It's called engagement, empowerment, enthusiasm, attitude, communication. But it's really two simple things. One, and why this topic is so important today, is lack of follow-up, no implementation. Number two, happiness factor. So let's just take that to the next step. So what I'm really, I did that too fast. So in the book, The Eighth Habit by Stephen Covey Sr., if you haven't read it, great book, because it really gets into a lot of key ideas. The Eighth Habit is about self-esteem and self-development and anything that actuates you so you feel good about yourself. People feel good about themselves, produce better results, and it's how you as a supervisor, manager, leader make people feel better about themselves.